قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ذلك ومن يعظم شعائر الله فإنها من تقوى القلوب. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Let us enliven our hearts and minds and enlighten our gathering with the salutations upon the Holy Prophet and his purified progeny. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. The Holy Quran is a timeless and an eternal witness to the greatness of those who came before us. The Quran provides many examples of individuals, of communities, of men, of women, of those who were young, those who were old, who were great. And it is an eternal witness, one that records the greatness of these individuals for all of time. And when we reflect on these verses of the Quran, we find in them great lessons for us. What does it mean to live with greatness? What does it mean to live our lives in such a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala records for every generation until the end of time, records and acts as a witness and a testament to that greatness. And one of the great examples of the Holy Quran, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala displays for us and provides us with an example of the power of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, and the way that they embodied and they displayed absolute and true and sincere faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and sincerity and pure love is recorded in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Ad-Dahr, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. The traditions, they tell us that Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein fell ill. They were young. They became ill. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi proposed to Amir al-Mu'mineen and Fatima al-Zahra alayhim as-salam. He said to them, make a vow. Make this vow that if Al-Hassan wal-Hussein, they are cured, that you will fast for 3 days for the sake of Allah. And so the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, they fulfilled that vow, that nadhr. And the traditions, they tell us that on that first day, as they have fasted the entire day, the time of Maghrib comes, the time to break the fast. And as the family is getting ready to break their fast, someone comes and knocks on their door. And you know, the one who came and knocked on the door of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam was never refused. How? You go and you knock on the door of the most generous people. When you knock on the door of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, you won't be refused. He won't turn you away, huh? They knock on the door of their home. They open the door. The Quran says there is a miskeen, an indigent person, a poor person. He says, "O family of the Prophet, I am poor. I have nothing. Give me from what you have." The tradition says that Amir al-Mu'mineen and Fatima al-Zahra alayhim as-salam, they gather everything that they have, the food that they had prepared to break their own fast. Not some of it, Not half of it, all of it. And what was it? It was simple loaves of bread. They gather all of it and they offer it to this poor person. That night they break their fast on water. The second day comes, they fast. And at the same time, the time of Maghrib, another person comes. He comes and he knocks on the door. He says, "I am in need." Once again, the Ahlul Bayt, they give him everything they have. The third day, they are fasting. Once again, at the time of Maghrib, another person who is in need, this time a captive, he comes, Asir. He says, "I am in need." And the family gives everything they have. 3 days, they offer everything they have. وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. What do we learn from this story? One, we learn that the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, they teach us the importance of conditioned kindness. Aba Abdullah doesn't become Aba Abdullah al-Hussein overnight. Aba Abdullah al-Hussein has his role models. He saw the life and legacy of his grandfather Rasulullah. He saw how Rasulullah treated the people. He saw his father Amir al-Mu'mineen and his mother As-Sayyida Fatima al-Zahra alayhim as-salam. He learned from them. He learned that mercy and compassion and kindness and that sincerity and love. He learns it from his family. He learns it from his parents. The Ahlul Bayt, they conditioned kindness. They taught kindness. They embodied kindness from their youth all the way until their old age. They were taught. This is why Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he was able to display sincerity and love and faith. So we learn the lesson of conditioned kindness. But we also learn the lesson of what true sincerity and pure love looks like. When you give everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. We give for the sake of Allah. The Ahlul Bayt, they were not looking for recognition. They were not looking to be compensated, to be given something back. When they gave for the sake of Allah. It was an act of pure devotion, pure love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the essence of faith. The essence of faith is when it is sincere. The essence of faith is when it is pure. When it is not contaminated with something else. When it is done purely and entirely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the best form, the best expression of faith. And when we think about sincerity and pure love, here we can think of two dimensions. One of these dimensions is when there is sincerity and pure love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran says, قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Say that my prayers and my devotion, that my entire life and my death is for whom? لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. It is sincerely for Allah. Everything I have, my entire existence is for the sake of Allah. لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين. The Prophet here says, I was commanded. I have been commanded to give everything for Allah, to be purely sincere with my Lord. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he teaches us the beauty of the sincerity. He says, Ilahi ma abadtuka khawfan min narika wa la tama'an fi jannatik. My Lord, I recognize and I worship and I devote myself to you, not out of fear of punishment or hope for reward. Sometimes my devotion to Allah might be conditioned. I pray to Allah. I perform my rituals, my acts of worship. I do as I am commanded. Why? Because I look forward to reward. I look forward to be given that reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He grants me paradise. Or that I fear that if I do not, there is a punishment that is awaiting me. It's conditioned. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, Ilahi ma abadtuka khawfan min narika wa la tama'an fi jannatik. I worship you not out of a desire or a hope for reward, nor out of a fear for punishment. وَلَكِنْ وَجَدْتُكَ أَهْلًا لِلْعِبَادَةِ فَعَبَدْتُكَ. However, I found only you suitable for worship. I worship you for your sake. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he teaches us here the meaning of pure and unconditional love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is saying, my Lord, it doesn't matter to me whether you reward me or whether there is punishment. My Lord, I will always be attached to you. My Lord, I will always display this love for you. In Dua Kumail, he has these beautiful words where he says, my Lord, even if you were to throw me into the hellfire, you were to punish me, I would call out to everyone. I would proclaim my love and my affection to you, O Allah. It's unconditional. That is pure sincerity. That is pure devotion. So this one dimension of that sincerity is that sincerity and that devotion and that love that is with God. The second is the sincerity and the devotion and the love for God, for the sake of God. Here again, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he teaches us. He says the believer is someone whose likes and dislikes, whose pleasures and displeasures are all for the sake of Allah. Whose giving, whose withholding is all for the sake of Allah. It's not for the sake of anything else. A believer is someone who, when they give out of sincerity. They give out of love. Who enjoys the act of giving for the sake of Allah. I read a story once about a man who was walking. And as he was walking, he passed by an old woman. And so he stopped her and he said, please help me with something. Give me something. I'm in need. So the woman, she took her bag, her purse. She opened her purse, her bag. As she was opening her bag, the man, he looked inside her bag. He took a peek inside her bag. And he found that there was a jewel. She had a jewel in her bag. So he said to her, he said, give me that. That's what I want. So she put her hand in her bag without hesitation. She pulled out the jewel and she handed it to him. He took the jewel and he began walking. He continued walking. After a few moments, he turned around and he came back running to the old woman. He said, oh woman, stop. She stopped. He took the jewel. He said, here, take your jewel back. I don't want it. Give me something better than this jewel. She told him, what is better than this jewel? He said to her, give me that sense of kindness and compassion that you have. That I am able to give for the sake of Allah without hesitation. That I do so out of a sense of concern and love قربة إلى الله تعالى, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what the Quran teaches us, dear friends. Allah tells us that when you give out of love. لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. Here in Arabic, لن is what? أداة نفي. Here the Quran is saying, you will never achieve righteousness. You will never achieve righteousness unless you give from that which you love. Sometimes we give, but we might not give out of a sense of love. Or what we give is not that which we love. We find sometimes in our daily lives, you want to give, you want to provide, but I don't always give that which I love. I might have some clothes, for instance, at home. They are used clothes. I've worn them several times, and now I am deciding to go and to renew my wardrobe. I want to buy new clothes. So what do I want to do? I want to give away something. It's a good act, give away. So instead, what do? I don't usually go and give the best that I have. I go and give that which I've used, which I have no attachment to anymore. The Quran says, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he takes his servant Qambar to the marketplace and he purchases 2 shirts. One more expensive, one less expensive. He takes the more expensive shirt and he hands it to Qambar. He says, Qambar, you take this shirt. Qambar says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, why are you giving me the more expensive shirt? You are the Khalifa. You wear this shirt, I wear the other shirt. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, no, my son Qambar. He tells him, for me, it doesn't matter. This stuff does not matter. You are a young man. I want you to look presentable and beautiful. You take the more expensive shirt. لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. When I give from a sense of devotion and care and love and sincerity for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of Allah. Even when I withhold, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, the giving for the sake of Allah and the withholding for the sake of Allah. Even when I withhold, I do not do so out of sense of ego or pride or any other reason, for the sake of Allah. It's very much like a parent and their child. Sometimes, as parents, especially with our younger children, we know that sometimes there are some substances that might be harmful to my child. For instance, if they consume too much sugar, right? Too much sugar is going to be bad for my child. So sometimes my child asks me and I withhold. I say, no, Baba, sorry, I can't give you. You've had too much chocolate today. You've had too much sugar already today. This is not in order to hurt their feelings. Sometimes the child becomes upset, they cry, right? They cause a commotion. As a parent, when I withhold from my child, I'm not doing so to bother that child. I'm doing so because I know what is good for that child, because I care for them. I love them. I don't want them to be harmed. And so similarly, when we give and when we withhold, we do so for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is when it comes to our giving and our withholding. When it comes to our likes and dislikes, when it comes to our pleasures and displeasures, similarly, when it comes to things in my life, what I like and what I dislike. Oftentimes, what I like is that which pleases my nafs and pleases my ego. I dislike the things that displease my ego, Sincerity and purity flips this. It tells you that you should like that which is good for you for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if it injures your ego. I should like my friend, my brother, my sister who provides for me Genuine advice, real advice, even if it injures my ego. I don't like to hear it. But I like it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I dislike, for instance, commendations and compliments that what? That boost my arrogance. My nafs likes it, but I dislike this commendation, this compliment, this recognition that someone gives me, because I don't want it to turn into a sense of arrogance or pride. Even people, not just things. When we like someone or we dislike someone, we do so for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do not dislike or like someone simply because of what they can provide for me or what they withhold from me. Even our likes and dislikes of people is for the sake of Allah. Why do we love Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? Why? Because Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he represents that love and sincerity and connection and devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Imam Hussein, in every aspect, even with his enemies, even with his enemies, the tradition says that when the army of Al-Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, it arrived and it stopped the army, the family of Al-Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam from entering into Kufa. When they intercepted them, the tradition says that Al-Hurr came with a large army, several thousand soldiers, that when they arrived, Al-Hurr and his soldiers and his animals, his horses, they were thirsty. You know what Abu Abdullah al-Hussein he does? Salamullahi alayka ya Abu Abdullah. He commands Bani Hashim. He says, bring forward the water that we have. Give them. They're thirsty. They're thirsty. Imam Hussein stands up and he weeps for his enemies. He weeps for them. He calls out time and time again. He tells them, do you know what you are doing? Because of his love for God's creation, he does not cry for himself. He cries because he knows what these people are doing and the consequences of this action. And this is why he repeatedly reminds them. He tells them, be aware, recognize what you are doing here. This is why we love Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. We love Abu Abdullah al-Hussein because he embodies that kindness and compassion and love and devotion. We love Abu Abdullah al-Hussein because Rasulullah loved Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Because Rasulullah called out, Husaynun minni wa ana min Hussein. Hussein is from me. I am from Hussein. Ahabballah man ahabba Husayna. May Allah love the one who loves Hussein. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we love him because he gave everything for Allah. The lines of poetry, they express this. Speaking on behalf of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, when he says, تَرَكْتُ الْخَلْقَ طُرًّا فِي هَوَاكَ تركت الخلق طرا في هواك وأيتمت العيال لكي أراك تركت الخلق طرا في هواك وأيتمت العيال لكي أراك فلو قطعتني بالسيف إربا لما حن الفؤاد إلى سواك. Imam Hussein gives everything. It's as though he is saying, my Lord, I have orphaned my children for your sake. I have left my family for your sake. My Lord, take whatever you desire. My Lord, I am all yours. My family is all yours. Everything I have is for you, for your sake. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he gave everything for Allah. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he gave his heart for Allah, and in return Allah gave him tens and millions of hearts. He gave him that love that we all have. He gave him that status that when we hear the name of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, our heart stirs. Our tears, they come out. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he gave everything for Allah. On that day, he gave tens. He gave all of his companions, sacrificed them for the sake of Allah. They sacrificed themselves for the sake of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein and for the sake of Allah. Imam Hussain offered his family members, his brothers. One by one he offered them for the sake of Allah. Imam Hussain alayhi salam offers his sons, even his newborn infant, he offers him for the sake of Allah. And then finally he offers himself, he offers his heart, he offers his body, he offers his head for the sake of Allah. Allah, what happened on the day of Ashura? And then the aftermath of the day of Ashura. What kind of night was that night, huh? That eve of the 11th of Muharram. Ya laha min laylatin asiba. What a difficult night this night was on the family of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, huh? After Imam Hussain and his companions, they were killed. All of them were beheaded, huh? All of them, they were all beheaded. All of them were stripped of their clothes. They were all lying on the sands of Karbala, drenched in their blood mixed with the sand of Karbala. Huh? They are lying there on the battlefield. Umar ibn Sa'ad then calls his army. He says, then proceed to the camp of Aba Abdullah. Ahriqu buyut al-zalimin. The soldiers, they come towards where the women and children are. One by one they enter into the tents. One by one they begin to burn the tents down. Allahu Akbar. They go towards the daughter of Rasulullah. They snatch their earrings from them. They go from tent to tent. They are scaring the daughters of Rasulullah. They run from tent to tent. What are they supposed to do, huh? They are running away frantically, rushing towards them. They are calling out, Amma Zainab. What do we do? Zainab, she looks left and right. She says, she sees the women and children. They are running from tent to tent. They have no one to protect them. Where is Abu Fadil? Huh? Where is Abu Fadil? Where is Ali al-Akbar? Where are the Hashimi youth? None of them are there to protect the daughters of Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar. Then nightfall comes, huh? The sun sets and the nightfall comes, and what a dark night that was. What a dark and difficult night it was on the family of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. They are all alone without protection. These ladies, these daughters who just days ago, they were honored by everyone, huh? These were the most honorable of women. They were honored, people respected them, and now they have nowhere to go. They are surrounded by the enemies. What what happens to them? They are still thirsty. Some of the traditions, they say that when nightfall came, some of the soldiers, they come forward to the camp of Abu Abdullah where the women and the children were. The children saw the soldiers coming, they became scared. They turned to run. The soldiers told them, "Oh children, stop. We have brought water for you." They looked at them, they said, "How do you expect us to drink water when our father Abu Abdullah was killed thirsty?" The women go during that night, that dark night. The women go, they begin to go onto the battlefield. Each one of the women is going in one direction, Kulthum, she goes out, she is looking for her brother Abu Fadil. Sukaina goes out, she says, "Amma Zainab, where is my father? Who is going to protect me?" Every night, her father, every night, he would put her to sleep. She is her beloved. Every night she hears the beautiful voice of Abu Abdullah. He recites the Quran to her, he embraces her, he kisses her. She tells her, "Amma, where is my father? Who is going to take care of me tonight?" Each woman is going. Layla is looking for her beloved Ali al-Akbar. Rabab goes out. Allahu Akbar. Zainab goes out in the evening. She sees Rabab sitting next to a small grave. Rabab is sitting. She tells her, "Rabab, what are you doing?" She says, "Zainab, I have drank water. Now I have come to feed my child Abdullah." Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. السلام